Welcome to the Scenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something I think a lot of us deal with, maybe without even putting a name to it. It's that constant push for perfection. On the surface, it looks like just being driven, wanting excellence, but underneath, it can really start to pile up stress, anxiety, maybe even lead to burnout. So the big question we're tackling is this: what if letting go a bit, embracing good enough, could actually bring more balance, maybe more resilience, and, dare I say, more joy into your life?
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive,
Yeah.
really to unpack that whole paradox of perfectionism. We're going to explore where it comes from because the roots can be surprising. We'll look at how it actually impacts our day-to-day lives, often in ways we don't realize. And most importantly, we want to give you some practical, real strategies to manage it. We're drawing a lot from How to Stop Being a Perfectionist, simple mindset shifts. Think of it as our guide to help you shift away from chasing those impossible standards towards something, healthier and more balanced.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The thing that really stands out from the research is how perfectionism feels like. Well, both a gift and a burden. On the gift side, it's easy to see the appeal. It can push you to achieve amazing things. Setting really high goals, pushing boundaries, being super disciplined. You get a reputation for being a high achiever. It kind of looks like the recipe for success.
It absolutely looks that way from the outside. But that burden side, that's where the hidden cost lies. And what's really fascinating, and something the source highlights, is how it traps you. It's like this loop of anxiety, self-doubt, and just never feeling satisfied. Even when you nail something, achieve a huge success by anyone else's standards, it often doesn't feel like enough inside. Why? Because your own standards just instantly jump higher.
The moving goalpost.
Exactly. Many people with these tendencies, as we found, live with this really intense, almost overwhelming fear of failure. It's not just a worry, it's this gut belief that what they do is never quite good enough. And that paradox is just so draining. The very drive that helps you achieve also, kind of subtly, steals your ability to actually enjoy the wins. Instead of celebrating, you zoom right in on the tiny flaws. And that just kills creativity, chips away at your confidence, leaves accomplishments feeling kind of hollow, like pushing a rock uphill and the top keeps getting further away.
Yeah. I think most people listening can relate to that on some level, can't they?
Mm-hmm.
You hit a milestone, something you worked really hard for, and there's that little voice, yeah, but it wasn't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That feeling, that constant striving, that's often perfectionism lurking. And what's really interesting is how that internal stuff doesn't just stay internal. It spills out, affects everything.
Oh, definitely. The impact goes way beyond just feeling dissatisfied. It hits hard in different areas. Take mental health, for instance. That constant self-criticism, it's not just background noise. It's a chronic stressor. It can genuinely contribute to anxiety, depression, even in some cases, eating disorders.
Wow.
Yeah. And then relationships. Perfectionists often struggle with vulnerability. There's this deep fear of being judged or rejected if they're not flawless. So building those really deep, authentic connections, it becomes really challenging. You can feel isolated even when you're around people.
That makes sense.
And here's the really counterintuitive part, especially for someone aiming for perfection: productivity. Perfectionism is actually a major cause of procrastination.
Really? How does that work?
Well, it's not laziness, it's the fear. The thought of not doing the task perfectly can be so paralyzing that you just put it off
Yeah.
or avoid it altogether. Plus, many won't delegate tasks. They think only I can do it right, which, leads straight to being overwhelmed and burnout.
Burnout. Yeah. It's amazing how many of those things can just fly under the radar. You might not even realize that these patterns are affecting your well-being, your relationships, even how effective you are at work. So for someone listening now, maybe thinking, that sounds a bit like me. What are the clear signs? How can you spot if perfectionism is subtly running the show in your life?
Yeah, recognizing the signs is absolutely the first step. The source really emphasizes this. Our deep dive points to a few key behaviors, often disguised as just being dedicated or thorough. One big one is setting expectations that are, frankly, almost impossible. Constantly raising the bar so high that success is always just out of reach. You're always chasing.
Okay.
Another is fixating on tiny flaws instead of the overall accomplishment. You could do a great job, 99% perfect, but your focus locks onto that 1% that wasn't quite right.
Ignoring the positive.
Exactly. Then there's taking criticism really personally. not seeing it as feedback to learn from, but as like a direct hit on your worth or competence. Makes improving feel like admitting failure. And finally, getting totally stuck on mistakes. Instead of learning and moving on, perfectionists tend to replay errors over and over in their heads, stuck in regret.
That sounds exhausting.
It is, and it's crucial to note, as the source points out, that if these thought patterns go unchecked, they can become really rigid, really consuming, almost like obsessive-compulsive traits in some ways, where perfectionism isn't just about tasks anymore, it starts to dominate your whole outlook.
So, okay,
Yeah.
we see what it looks like, we see the impact, but let's go deeper. Why? Why does this develop in the first place? It's probably not just one simple thing, is it?
No, definitely not simple. It's usually a mix of things, often starting quite early. Our research, guided by the source, points to 4 common roots. The first one often goes back to childhood experiences. And this isn't about blaming anyone, it's about understanding. If you grew up where love, praise, or maybe just attention felt conditional, like tied mostly to your achievements, good grades, being the good kid, performing well, you can internalize this powerful message. My worth comes from what I achieve. Success equals value.
Ah, okay. Conditional worth.
Exactly. Second, personality traits can play a part too. Some people are just naturally very detail-oriented, very responsible, ambitious. These are great traits. But sometimes, especially if there's also underlying anxiety or maybe OCD tendencies, that drive can morph into perfectionism. It becomes a way to feel in control.
Right, using it as a coping mechanism almost.
Kind of, yeah. Third, we can't ignore societal and cultural pressures. Let's face it, many cultures really glorify productivity, being the best, constant achievement. Schools, workplaces, competitive fields, they can all feed into these incredibly high expectations that we then internalize.
And the pressure feels very real.
It does. And number 4, which is maybe more recent but powerful, the role of social media. We're just constantly bombarded with these curated, perfect images of other people's lives, right? It fuels comparison, makes normal flaws feel unacceptable, and really ramps up that fear of failure or not measuring up.
The curated reality trap.
Precisely. And underlying all of these, as the source really clarifies, is the core issue. Often it's about a fragile sense of self-worth. Deep down, there might be beliefs like, I'm only valuable if I succeed, or making a mistake means I am a failure. That makes it incredibly hard to accept imperfection, which is, just part of being human. So managing perfectionism isn't just about changing behaviors. It's about shifting towards accepting yourself unconditionally, valuing growth over flawlessness.
Understanding those roots really helps put it in perspective. It shows how deep these patterns can run. But the good news, the really hopeful part, is that even if the causes are complex, you can learn to manage these tendencies. It's not about killing your drive, right? It's more about channeling it differently, adopting new strategies, shifting your mindset.
Exactly. It's definitely manageable. Let's walk through some key strategies that the research suggests are really effective. First up, setting realistic goals. This sounds obvious, but perfectionists often trip up here. We all know SMART goal-specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. But the source adds a layer for perfectionists. Really interrogate that achievable part. Is it achievable based on reality and constraints, or based on some impossible ideal? And break big goals down. Smaller steps mean less overwhelm and, crucially, more chances to acknowledge and celebrate actual progress. That helps reset that internal benchmark.
Celebrating small wins. I like that.
Yeah, it's powerful. Next, adjusting expectations. This is huge. Perfectionists often tie their self-worth directly to performance, but remember those moving goalposts. Satisfaction becomes impossible. The source encourages a conscious uncoupling. Your worth is not your output. Really reevaluating and lowering those impossibly high self-imposed standards can take off so much unnecessary pressure.
Letting go of must be perfect.
Exactly. Then there's practicing self-compassion. This is maybe one of the most transformative things. It's more than just being nice to yourself. It means actively treating yourself with the same kindness you'd show a friend who was struggling. So instead of, I failed, try, okay, that didn't work out as planned. What can I learn for next time? It reframes mistakes from evidence of failure into opportunities for growth.
Shifting the inner dialogue.
Absolutely. Then mindfulness and challenging negative beliefs. Perfectionists often live in the past, regretting errors, or the future, worrying about failing. Mindfulness practices could be journaling, meditation, even just pausing to breathe, pull you back to the present. And you can consciously challenge those all-or-nothing beliefs like, if it's not perfect, it's worthless, or I have to be perfect to be liked. Question them. Are they really true?
Bringing awareness to those automatic thoughts.
Right, and a very practical one. Limiting time on tasks. This directly tackles that endless tweaking problem. Spending an hour rewriting one email or over-preparing obsessively. Set strict time limits. Use a timer. The Pomodoro technique is great for this. Or task management apps. It forces you to focus on good enough and efficiency, stopping that perfectionist creep and preventing burnout.
Drawing a line in the sand.
Okay. Yeah. And another really interesting one. Gradual exposure to imperfection. This means intentionally doing things, low-stakes things, where imperfection is okay, even expected, like doodling just for fun, making something messy, writing without editing as you go. The goal is to just practice being imperfect. Let your brain get used to the idea that mistakes happen and it's not the end of the world. Desensitize yourself to that fear.
Like building tolerance for imperfection.
Exactly. And finally, never underestimate seeking support. You really don't have to fight this alone. Talking to friends you trust, a mentor, a therapist, it can provide perspective you just can't get on your own. Support groups, too. Just hearing someone else say, I get that, I struggle with that too, can break down that sense of isolation perfectionism thrives on.
That's a really solid set of tools.
Right.
It really feels like change is possible. But here's something that really caught my eye. Can perfectionism somehow be turned into a strength? Our deep dive suggests yes, especially if you apply something called the 80-20 rule. Tell us about that.
Yes, the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. It's a fantastic lens for this. Basically, it suggests that often about 80% of your results come from only 20% of your efforts. For a perfectionist, this is a game changer. It means you don't need to pour all your energy into polishing every single tiny detail to get most of the desired outcome. Instead, you strategically focus on that critical 20%, the actions that deliver the biggest bang for your buck. Like, on a project, nail the core elements first. Don't get lost in the weeds on minor stuff that adds little value. It stops you wasting time on diminishing returns and avoids that overwork cycle.
So it's about being strategically excellent, not exhaustively perfect.
You got it.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you channel that intense perfectionist drive into something genuinely strong beyond just coping?
It's about consciously redirecting that energy. Moving from being driven by fear to being guided by growth. First, learn to set high standards, but without the rigidity. Aim high, absolutely, but develop the wisdom to know when good enough is actually good enough to move forward. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good or done. Knowing when to stop polishing.
Exactly. Second, use that attention to detail as an asset strategically. In fields where precision is genuinely critical, think medicine, engineering, coding, design, that meticulousness can be a huge advantage, a real strength. Make it work for you, not against you. And third, maybe the most crucial shift, balance that ambition with real self-compassion. Keep striving, keep learning, but make celebrating progress just as important as noticing flaws. This whole process is about shifting from a mindset based on avoiding failure to one focused on achieving growth. That builds resilience and leads to more sustainable improvement.
This has been incredibly insightful. It really clarifies how perfectionism, which seems like such a positive trait on the surface, can actually lead to so much stress, procrastination, and just feeling not good enough. But the really encouraging message here is that it can be managed. It can even be transformed. Absolutely. The real power comes from reframing how you think about it, setting goals that are actually achievable. Cultivating that kindness towards your self-compassion is key, and really learning to value the process, the progress, the growth, rather than chasing some impossible, static ideal of perfection. It's definitely a journey, not like flipping a switch, but it's a journey with huge potential rewards for your well-being.
So as we finish up this deep dive, here's something to carry with you. Imperfection isn't a sign that you failed. It's just part of being human. It's unavoidable. And maybe, just maybe, it's within that imperfection and those moments of vulnerability and learning from mistakes that the real opportunities for growth and maybe even lasting fulfillment actually lie. Something to think about.
Thanks for tuning in to the Scenario Podcast. Don't forget to visit scenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.